The fantasy world of McLaren's childhood and the books he'd read would become an inspiration for the fancy dress wardrobe he created for his musical protégés.
Reading about Blackbeard as a kid, memories of reading about Blackbeard, of reading about Geronimo, the last great Apache outlaw, suddenly leapt to life in my imagination as very colourful people in terms of their look.
For a while after the Sex Pistols, I guess he carried on, in inverted commas, being a kind of pop manager, pop impresario, hired as a sort of drifting consultant by people like Adam and the Ants. I think Adam and the Ants paid him, the myth goes, and I quite like it, paid him 1,000 guineas to give him some ideas.
He's talking about no romantic pirates and heroics. He said, everybody's wearing black, boy. Colour, heroicism. You know, that was what it was about. And he's told Geronimo, look at Geronimo, boy. Look at pirates, boy. Go. He said, give me £1,000, don't tell no one, and I'll manage you. Great. And he gave me an education. And then he told me about the construction of pop music, and then he gave me a tape of, which I still got, because I used to make notes with him. I bet I'd be, what did he just say? Because he'd throw 5,000 ideas at you, and you'd catch 3 of them, but those 3 of them could change history. That's, to me, I took them.
McLaren gets involved, he gives them that Burundi beat sound, he gives them a few tips about how to do it, he gives them a silly idea, simple as that, put some makeup on, something that everyone can copy, and suddenly they're packing out huge halls all over the UK, they're having #1 hits, you know, they were, he saw the raw material and packaged it perfectly for pop.
True to form, Malcolm tore up the packaging. He stole Adam Ant's band and used it as a backing group for his most recent discovery, Annabella Lewin.
I used to work in a dry cleaners for pocket money when I was very young, being 13. I actually came in to talk to my boss to fire me or to make me resign. So she has to quit. She can't work here anymore. She's going to be in a rock and roll band, you know.
I had observed that all of the pop generation that had changed social attitudes were a generation that really always was at that level of teenagehood where they were virgins and they were still experimenting with their sexuality. And I thought that Annabella was perfect for that. And the way to deal with the prostitution as a cool idea from the 70s, as I experienced all these punk kids hanging out on Park Lane, I recreated Déjeuner sur l'herbe by Edouard Manet. There you could have all the band completely clothed, but the truth loves to go naked would be this girl who perhaps in the picture was once a prostitute but now is Annabella at 13. It was a bit of a scandal. We did suffer problems, but nevertheless that icon I knew would live out.
I don't like you.
Lewin too was discarded, another victim of Malcolm's troubled ego.
It's kind of like a similar situation to, you know, a child, really. I would only let analogies. It's a child, you know. A child wants to get his own way, and when he doesn't get his own way, he starts stamping his foot and knocking everything down. And that's kind of what happened with us towards the end of the management situation with Malcolm McLaren.
And he carried on regardless.